Hi Aidil, I'm Ben. So I am currently studying Foundation in Law in MMU Malacca. So how are you?
I'm well, thank you so much, Ben. Nice to meet you.
Right, so if I'm not mistaken, you are quite a loud climate activist, yeah? So what brought you here coming out of school from SPM?
Right, so my journey in climate activism started about 5 years ago, and that was when I was 19 years old. And it started from a university assignment that introduced me to sustainability, and that has transitioned me smoothly from being 19 years old all the way to being 23 years old today as a fully fledged climate activist. And it has been a great pathway, starting from fast fashion sustainability, wildlife conservation, all the way to what I'm doing now, focusing more on climate change. So that journey has been amazing.
That's so interesting. Now, talk about climate activism. Just like most of the jobs out there, it requires specific skill sets that you have to have. So, in your opinion, what are the skill sets needed for climate activism?
Yeah, and I think that's really important to raise because we do have to acknowledge how much of a scale of importance that communications play in both climate activism and climate policy making. The persuasion side of climate activists can feed into climate policy making. So a lot of policymakers rely on activists, NGOs, civil societies in transforming what they have conveyed in a 30-page report into a 10-page infographic, into a single poster. So a lot of the work that climate activists do benefit people in government, corporations, university, and so on. So I would say communications is really important, especially if you know how to persuade people, how to tackle jargons that are inaccessible to some people who don't understand climate change, language barriers and so on. So I would say communications is really important.
I see. Now, talking about climate change, right? Climate activism, sorry. Now, a lot of people my age, not saying that you're quite old, no. I said recently leaving SPM, so 18 years old, 19 years old, they are quite interested in climate activism. However, they don't know where to start, So what are your advice to them?
Yeah, my advice with them is actually to volunteer for a collective movement or an environmental organization. And a single young person can do this by going to a website called yell.my. So that's YELL.my, and it's spearheaded by UNICEF Malaysia and UNDP Malaysia. It's this depository system, this website that provides you a list of NGOs that a young person might be interested in joining, but also looking into what interests feed you. For example, if you're from a law faculty at your university, what kind of environmental organizations do you want to join that is more focused on lawmaking and so on, right? So I would say to have that opportunity is really important. To join that opportunity is really vital. But as a person who is going off into SPM, who has the right to vote, it's really important to also network with your members of parliament. Your political representative at your constituency is really important. So networking with them, emailing them, contacting them about a climate legislation, about climate policy, about a dissatisfaction that you've encountered with environmental issues is also important. So these are both individual choices that you can make. One is to network with your political leaders, and one is to join a movement with like-minded persons.
I see, that's so interesting. Now, I think, wouldn't you agree that we need more and more young people in the climate activism scene, yeah?
Yeah, I totally agree, yeah.
So, yeah, I guess nice to meet you, Aidil, and it was a great conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I guess what I learned today from Aidil, one of my main takeaway is the fact that a lot of young people nowadays feel like they do not want to be related to the politics of Malaysia. However, in order to go into climate activism, it is unavoidable that you have to be related to the policy making of our country and the politics of our own country. And I guess my other main important takeaway is that communication is very important. Climate activism, because that is how you're going to deliver your voice to the policy makers up there. So yeah, I think these two are my main takeaways from Aidil, and that's all. Thank you very much.